I'm about to go through my actual portfolio with you. We're going to look at all the places that I have my money. We'll look at the asset allocation and the weights that each of those make up. And I'll also dive through the individual stocks and ETFs that I personally own. And if you stick around to the end, we're going to find out, did this investment strategy of mine actually do very well this year as we wrap up 2021? Well, we'll find out. Watch to the end. This should be fun. Hey, if this is your first time watching the channel, welcome. My name is Joshua. We talk about money, as you could probably guess, and I've learned a lot from building and selling my tech company. I'm still learning a lot about money, trying to share those lessons directly with you. If that sounds helpful to you, I'd love for you to subscribe. I'd love for you to share this channel with a friend. That's really what we're trying to do, is just teach each other the things we're learning so we can be better investors and find financial freedom. Also, don't forget, there's a link below. You can click and join Coinbase where you can get free Bitcoin just by signing up. Do that. You will be happy you did. All right, so I like to talk a lot about investing in index funds on this channel, and I'm not too big on jumping out and investing in all kinds of things, but I'm actually going to pull back the curtain today and show you that I don't always take my advice. I do buy some stocks and things that I have, a preference for, and those don't always work out. Let's actually look at that. I'm going to jump over, share my screen, and we'll look at it together. All right, so here we are on the computer. Let's go through my portfolio in some detail. And you can see I have this pie chart. It represents each of the main types of asset allocation that I have. And let's go through it together. Here is stocks. This is about 50% of my net worth is in the stock market. And I want to say I didn't even invest in stocks until maybe 5 years ago. So this happened pretty quickly. I think once I started to see compounding take place, once I started to realize how it wasn't this scary thing, I started to really heavily put money there. Next up over here, you'll see real estate. So this is where I have equity in the home I'm currently in. And then recently, my family, we bought 10 acres of property, and we plan to build a dream home there. It's just a really exciting thing that we're doing. And so I actually have some equity in that property, and combining those, that makes up about a third, if you will, of my portfolio and my net worth. Now, I do not have any rental properties or cash flowing real estate investments. That's something I've wanted to do for a while. Haven't started yet, but I do plan in 2022 to get at least one investment property locked in. So next up would be cash. This was significantly higher. I think this was somewhere around 25% prior to that, the property that I just mentioned that we bought. And so this cash position has decreased a bit. The timing of that feels pretty good with inflation and some things happening. So this is still our kind of emergency fund in cash, but it's not a huge position, which I feel pretty good about. All right, you may see property at 8.2%, wonder kind of what is that? That's just this bucket I throw in for all these different assets I may have that are physical property. So this would be the cars that I own. My wife and I, we have 2 vehicles. They're both paid off. They've actually appreciated significantly with the crazy inflation and shortage of vehicles. So there's things like property, jewelry, equipment, just the different things that I could, if in an emergency, go sell for some cash essentially. And I'm very conservative on this. Like if I have, I don't know, if I have a car, I will try to knock it down maybe 30-40% from what I may actually get in the market, just so I don't inflate these numbers. I just not a big fan of that. So that's where property comes in. All right, last two, we have crypto. So you may be surprised or not to see crypto is only 2% of my current portfolio. 90% of that is Bitcoin. I don't have a diverse crypto portfolio by any means. But that is something that in 2022 I do plan to explore further. And then up here is business equity. This could arguably be a lot higher. This is essentially just my ownership stake in some businesses that I have. Now, of course, back when I had my tech company, this business equity for that business would have been significantly different in this equation. and that's not the case anymore, and so that's why it's much lower. All right, so let's take a look at the actual list of stocks and ETFs that I personally own. And what you'll see is my big disclaimer. I do not always practice what I preach on this channel. I own quite a bit more individual companies than I would recommend, but this is why we're revealing this and showing you what it is that I own. Okay, so first up, you'll see VTI is at 25%, 24% roughly, about a quarter of my stock portfolio is held here. And now if you think about these two, you may not recognize the tickers, and that's fine. These are actually, this is a target date fund, and this is a S&P type mutual fund. And what these are combined, and how I think of these is more like index investing, right? So these are less risk. These are actually 401ks here, and then the ETF. And so between those three, those make up whatever that might be. Roughly half of my investments are in these more conservative, if you will, less single stock investments. All right, that's my confession. Got that out of the way. Moving on. Next up, you'll see over here, you might see some names you would expect, and these are some kind of bigger tech names. We have the Apple at 4.4%, Amazon at 7%, Tesla at 8.7%, and then Coinbase at 7.1%. So these four companies make up basically another quarter, and I'm pretty pleased with this. You know, I never bought Tesla. I was never a huge fan of Tesla, but I just started buying it, and and I'm glad I did. It's actually one of the best performing holdings I have. And Coinbase, I just did a video about the reasons why I've scaled this position up. Amazon, just love Amazon as a company. What a beast. They've went sideways kind of for a while, but I'm fine with that. I'm happy to own that. All right, so let me jump back here. So what you might be interested in is, what is all this stuff? Okay, well, obviously you see Bitcoin there. Then we're going to move up to a couple other things. VWO, I've done a video on this. QQQ, I've done a video on this. I have mentioned ARCQ in a few videos, like my exchange traded fund video. And then the others are a few different bets that I've made. Target's a recent addition. I owned some of this previously, and then I just started to add to it more recently. If you have a wife like I do, you know that Target is going to do just fine. I have Laser. This is a company called Luminar, based in Orlando, and they are just incredible. They do LiDAR technology. They've announced a partnership with Volvo to basically use lasers to help promote autonomous vehicles. And I'm a big believer in that. It's obviously still several years out. I got in very early, back when there was a SPAC and a merger. I made quite a bit on this, and I'm going to hold probably forever. Next up, I own Unity. I think you've probably heard this name if you're familiar with rumblings around the metaverse and just 3D animation and gaming. And so Unity is an amazing company. They're a leader in that space. So I've put some money there. Let's talk about two big losers for me. So UWMC, United Wholesale Mortgage. This was a SPAC that came online. It was hyped up pretty big. I invested in it because I saw it was from the same people that brought Laser to the market, and I thought, well, that did really well. Let's consider this. And I also wanted to kind of get away from a bunch of tech names and try something a little bit different. And yeah, this has been one of my worst performing, worst investments ever. And now I'm not alone. That this stock has just gotten beaten up really bad. It does have a pretty high dividend, just based on the share price. So I'm going to hold this forever. I have no reason to sell it, and we'll see how that goes. And then ironically, in the same space, in the home kind of home buying space, we have Zillow. Now, Zillow is a company I use every single day. I'm on their app every day of my life. I love the product. I've used it to sell my home. I've used it to buy homes, and I really believe in their platform, but you've probably seen how they got really upside down on this automated, Zillow offers home buying endeavor. And the worst part was that business line was why I was motivated to go buy in this individual stock. And this thing is down over 59% probably. I just bought at a really high price and it is cratered. So that's been tough. And in fact, I have debated on buying more because it's literally so much lower than my cost basis. But I'm probably not going to do that. And I feel good about what I did put in. And I do feel good about the company. I think they will recover at some point, especially when I plan to never sell. So that's my overall current portfolio on the stock side. All right, so how did I actually do this year compared to if I just put my money in VOO and left it alone? Well, you can see here, I took the screenshot of my Yahoo account, kind of pulling away the actual numbers, but you can see from the graph here, I started off 2021 thinking I was a big boss and just beating the market, no problem at all. And I mean, this was significant, right? Significantly outpacing the index. However, then a lot of things came back down. I don't even remember what some of these were. I think it was actually a lot of those SPACs. I think it was Laser and UWMC and just some other names pulling back, maybe some of the ARCQ. And there's other things I've kind of jumped in and out of here so that aren't reflected in the pie chart you saw. But yeah, right around March, started to get kind of back to what we call reversion to the mean. So I started to come right back down to the average basically. And we dabbled around, and then it was over in here in May, in summer, when we crossed, when my performance started to dip below VOO if I would have just stayed there. And this continued, and throughout the fall, I was underperforming the market and feeling pretty bad about it. But I just kept going. I didn't do anything crazy. That VTI had been what I was funding primarily, so that helped out. And then it was around October where, bam, things just went crazy. That's when Tesla started ripping. That's when some of my other tech names just really started to go. And that got me up. Back up. You can see though that happened at VOO as well, because of the weighting of some of those names in that ETF. And then we had some more selling, and you can see I'm down about 3.8% compared to if I just left it alone. And one other thing to say, not only is it 3.8%, but then if I'm buying and selling, there's some tax implications involved. And it goes to show that, at least in this 1 year snapshot, the simple investing strategy would have been better. But I will say that's not necessarily the only thing, in my opinion, that matters, at least for a year like right now, because this has been a really great learning experience. And if anything, it's only reinforced good habits. It's only reminded me with data now and real experience, without losing it all, that sometimes simple is better. So yeah, that is my take on 2021 and how I did. Hey, leave me a comment. I'd love to know how you did. Did you crush it? Are you a crypto millionaire? Did you hit it big on some awesome options play? Or are you safe, doing the right thing here and investing in index funds? Let me know. I'd love to hear what you have to say. All right, well, there you have it. So that's my portfolio. That's where I'm invested in currently. When I think ahead to 2022, I'll probably change my strategy a bit. I really think I'll get back to the basics. I'll spend a lot more time investing directly into VTI. And this may be unpopular to some people, but I am going to really focus on crypto in 2022. More videos and more information on that decision soon. All right, thanks so much for watching. Hey, again, please let me know if this was helpful. Drop a comment below. I respond to all of you. Love to chat with you, and we'll see you back soon.